You on reading the amazing prophecy of Ezekiel chapter 37 regarding the ingathering of all the tribes of Israel. It is written, "And you, son of man, take for yourself one stick and write upon it, for Judah and for the children of Israel his companions. And take one stick and write upon it, for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and all the house of Israel his companions, and bring them close one to another into one stick, and they shall be one in your hand." We just read that first part of Ezekiel when he talked about bringing two sticks and that there'll be one in your hand. Two sticks. One stick for Judah, one stick for Ephraim, and there'll be one in your hand. That's what Hashem says. You see, it happened 2,700 years ago. The northern tribes of Israel broke away from the house of David and the house of Judah, and they became their own kingdom, and they called it Israel, where Judah was called the kingdom of Judah. And the tribe of Benjamin joined Judah, and the Levites and the Kohanim also left all their places that they were in the Levite cities throughout Israel, and they joined the kingdom of Judea. And this became what we know today as the Jewish people. But as for the tribes that broke away, they were carried away captive, never supposedly to be seen from again. But they're not lost. The tribes are not lost to God, because he made a promise to bring them back in the Torah. Continuing in Ezekiel chapter 37, "So says Hashem, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel his companions, and I will place them with the stick of Judah. And I will make them into one stick, and they shall become one in my hand. And the sticks upon which you shall write shall be in your hand before their eyes." Before your eyes, you are now seeing something. You are seeing the two sticks coming together. In other words, you are seeing the lost tribes of Israel, the so-called less than 10 tribes, which are represented by the stick of Ephraim, joining to Judah, the Jews, and they will become one. So says Hashem, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the nations where they have gone, and I will gather them from every side, and I will bring them to their land, and I will make them into one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel. And one king shall be king to them all, as a king, and they shall no longer be two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore. Continuing on from Ezekiel 37, it's written, "And I will save them from all their habitations in which they have sinned. I will purify them, and they shall be to me as a people, and I will be to them as a God." When the people of Israel, the northern tribes, sinned against God in the Torah, they suffered the Torah punishment of being cut off from your people, scattered among the nations, and lost. Only lost to their own Hebrew identity, but not lost to God, because they are God's children. And even when later, when the Judah was carried away to Babylon, only a remnant returned. But while in Babylon, God gave this prophecy to Ezekiel to let him know that he was going to bring everyone back, including the lost of Judah that never returned, and all the tribes of Israel. And he would restore the kingdom. And God said, "I will sprinkle clean water upon you, and you will be clean. And I will give you a new heart, and a new spirit will I put within you, and bring it about that you will walk in my statutes. You will keep my ordinances and do them. That's right, do them. God's promise that He would give a new heart. God promised to give a new heart to His people. This is His promise. In the land you shall do the mitzvot, and that the people of Israel will be awakened to their Hebrew identity. This is how God will do it. It's His plan. But He has a kingdom to bring together into one. For that stick represents a shevet. It represents a scepter of God's righteousness, the scepter of His kingdom that was broken and is being restored in our days. And you will be a witness. God spoke to the prophet Balaam in the wilderness. He said to him in the book of Bamidbar, He said, Hashem said, a star will come forth from Jacob, and a scepter will arise out of Israel. The star out of Jacob. Jacob inherited the strength, the power, the might, and the blessing of Esau was given to him by his father Isaac. Esau was not worthy of it, and he inherited. But Esau is not a believer in God. He's just a powerful man, a self-made man who has power and strength to build an army, to build a nation, to be successful in the physical endeavors of life, even the intellectual endeavors of life. That's Esau. That's Jacob. He inherited the arms, the strength of Esau. But that is only part of God's kingdom. Because Jacob, when he is the man of God, is called Israel. As Balaam said, I see in a far distance, far away, regarding the end days, that a star would go forth out of Jacob. But after that star lays the foundation for God's kingdom, then it says a scepter will arise out of Israel. A scepter of God's kingdom, which is a spiritual kingdom. And Jacob, when he fought with the angel, and the angel said, you successfully have wrestled with man, and God have prevailed, changed his name to Israel. And Israel represents someone who serves God. And that is what we are now waiting for. The scepter of God's kingdom was placed into the hands of Judah by Jacob himself. Jacob told Judah, Lo Yasur Shevet Me Yehuda. The scepter will not depart from Judah. He said that Judah was like a lion. In other words, Judah was mighty. He was like a lion. And into his hand, he put that scepter of God's kingdom. For the scepter of God's kingdom is in the hands of the house of David, which the northern tribes broke away from. And that scepter represents God's kingship and rulership here on earth that he placed in the hands of the house of David. The restoration of God's kingdom. We have a map here of Israel. We can see Yehuda, Judah, and the Shomron. This is the heartland of the people of Israel. It is where the foundation of God's kingdom was laid under King David when he made Jerusalem the capital, when all the tribes came together to become one, all under the authority of David. It all happened right here. This is the indigenous heartland of the people of Israel. It's also the foundation from which God's kingdom will be built, because it all starts here. And God said, I will establish the tents of Judah first. God is building a kingdom. And the star has gone forth from Jacob, and the scepter now is arising from Israel. The redemption of the world and the processes are underway. God has a kingdom to build. He has a kingdom to build. For the scepter of God's kingdom, which is scepter of God, is supposed to be established here on earth. And where does it all start? It starts right in Judea and Samaria. Yehuda B'Shamaron. This area, this is where Ephraim settled. Yehuda. And the scepter passes through the kingdom, and Jerusalem is in the middle. And it's this scepter, the unity, the joining of the two halves into one, brings the two sides together, the kingdom of Israel under Ephraim and the kingdom of Yehuda into one. Because God has a house to build right here in Jerusalem, on the Temple Mount, on the Har Habayit. That's where God's going to set up his throne. For God is king over all the world. It's written in Isaiah chapter 2. And it shall be at the end of the days that the mountain of Hashem's house will be firmly established at the top of the mountain. And it shall be raised above the hills, and all the nations shall stream to it. In other words, God's house is going to be built on the very location which we know today as the Temple Mount, the Har Habayit. This is what God's purpose is. This is the meaning, to set up his kingdom here on earth. He didn't create the stars to shine upon the earth for no reason. It's because the earth is the center of the universe, and God says that he will set up his throne, his resting place among us, and his house will be built. Let's continue on. Isaiah chapter 2, verse 3. And many people shall go, and they will say, Come, let us go up to Hashem's mount, to the house of the God of Jacob, and let him teach us his ways, and we will go in his paths. For out of Zion shall the Torah come forth, and the word of Hashem from Jerusalem. So, from Zion will go forth the Torah and the word of Hashem from Jerusalem. In other words, the nations are coming because of the Torah. They want to learn it. People talk about the Noahide laws. There's 7 laws of Noah. These are laws which are written inside of every neshama on the planet Earth. When someone is born, God is holding you accountable for those laws, like adultery, or murder, or stealing. These things, everyone knows they're wrong. You don't have to be taught it. It's part of you. But God has other laws that he gave to the people of Israel. Our mission is to become the example for the world, because it says that the nations will see that this is our wisdom, and they will want to have what the people of Israel have. They will want to learn the Torah. In other words, if the 7th day is Saturday, and there's people who want to join, are drawn to God, their day of rest no longer is Friday or Sunday. It's Saturday, because that's Shabbat. That's one of the laws of the Torah. As God says, it's a sign between me and his people. In other words, if you're God's people, you will want to keep Shabbat. You will want to rest Friday night and all day Saturday until the sunset, because you're drawing close to God, because it's his special day when you and God can be close to one another. And that's what he wants, everybody to be close to him. This is such a beautiful thing. And coming close to the Torah is approaching God. And let's just finish off with one more pasuk. This is also from Ezekiel. 37. And I will form a covenant of peace for them. An everlasting covenant shall be with them. And I will establish them, and I will multiply them, and I will place my sanctuary in their midst forever. And my dwelling place shall be over them. And I will be to them for a God, and they shall be to me as a people. And the nations shall know that I am Hashem, who sanctifies Israel when my sanctuary is in their midst forever.